Hey there, welcome back to class. Yeah, I know this is your jail cell, but we're gonna ignore that, alright? Today we're gonna be learning about U.S. history, and don't worry, it's about bombing. Tell me, do you remember 9/11? Hey, remember when I said this video would be about Tarkov? Yeah, well, here's the problem. Tarkov is great, and I hate it, and I'm going to continue playing it, and that makes me consider ending it all, but that's not our problem. Today our problem is the game of 4D chess that led to the International War on Terror and how it resulted in a good fucking video game. But enough of that. First, let's talk about what Insurgency is. Insurgency is the second game in the Insurgency series, because the first one wasn't called that for some reason. All three, or four, depending on how you see it, games in the series are tactical shooters, with pace varying widely between entries, from move and you die to a game fast enough that they even added cars. We'll get back to the middle child later, but for now I want to talk about what led up to and what followed this second game. Insurgency Modern Infantry Combat is a Half-Life 2 mod released in 2007, set during the Gulf War, at least as far as I know. This came out when tactical shooters referred to SWAT and Arma had just come out the year before, so games which focused on a more realistic use of weapons were all but unheard of. The FAL and shotguns are basically king on most maps, as the mod is a horridly small render distance which forces snipers to play in their enemy's field. This isn't to say that snipers are useless, but when they do the same damage as the FAL, which fires faster with higher capacity magazines, you're hard-pressed to give me a reason to care. Shotguns, as aforementioned, are stupid and objectively the best choice for any map, but I think they figured that out for themselves based on how there's only one shotgun allowed per team. Regardless of this, it's a pretty good game and I'd recommend picking it up since it is free, but you'd be hard-pressed to find a server, and I was lucky to get footage of this game at all. If you want another player, your best bet is to join an empty server and wait to see if any curious people check up on the game. Just watch YouTube or something while you wait. At the other end of the timeline is the most recent game, Insurgency Sandstorm. This is ironically what I probably have the least time playing, even though it is, on paper, the best in the series. The pace is faster, the guns are punchier, and the reloads are crisp as hell. And by God does it look nice, but something always feels a bit off. It doesn't exactly feel like Insurgency anymore. As for why, well, I can't say in confidence with the difference in playtime I have between this game and its predecessor, I'd likely chalk it up to the fact that the engine doesn't have the same homey feeling of Source behind it. I know, it's stupid, and I'm not here to make a case on how Source is perfect or even that good of an engine. It's likely that there's way more factors involved and this stupid little point doesn't really weigh into it, but I don't really have the experience with this game that I'd like to be able to make a hard take. The fact is, it's still a good game at the end of the day, and I'm gonna probably keep playing it with friends, but I can't personally recommend it when Insurgency is out and cheaper. It's important to mention that I only have about a year playing this, really, aside from beta time before that, as opposed to my 8 in MIC and 4 to 5 in Insurgency, so I don't really have the experience to start talking about balance and what have you with a clear head. Speaking of which, I think it's about time we talked about that middle child, and since it is the game I've put the most time into, I'll try to come at this as objectively as possible, seeing as failure to do so will result in talking about the brick. Insurgency is a really well fleshed out squad game, which, while forcing players to vary in terms of class, allows them to widely vary in role and playstyle within these classes, by letting them choose between decent selections of weapons and equipment no matter their class. A great example of this is the Demolitions class, who's given access to 3 options for his exclusive class equipment: a brick of C4, an AT4 launcher, and an underbarrel grenade launcher. The C4, which allows for high explosive yield at close ranges, is incredibly effective. but forces the player to be cautious in deployment, not only protecting themselves from oncoming fire, but assuring they and their teammates are clear from the blast radius. Their next option, the underbarrel grenade launcher, is a more immediate delivery of explosive yield. With multiple uses per life and a much smaller radius, thus chance of damaging your own team, it is not as damaging to the enemy team, but multiple uses and more unprepared delivery make it a situationally better item. The AT-4 is similar to the grenade launcher in that its delivery is immediate and fast, but in exchange for a much higher explosive yield, you have one use and cannot use it safely at close range. These multiple options for the demolition class allow for greatly varied play of their role, not even considering the small arms available to them, and makes a great case for the variation within limited class systems. C4, otherwise known as Composition C4 Explosive Plastic, is the best thing in Insurgency. This claim was made indisputable by New World Interactive founder Jeremy Blum in 2015 after he was quoted in saying,
"What are you talking about? What is Insurgency? Oh, fuck. C4 is the best weapon in Insurgency. Oh, fuck."
Therefore, factually, C4 is very cool and you're wrong.
C4, or Composition C4, is a common variety of the plastic explosive family known as Composition C. A similar British plastic explosive based on RDX, and usually a marker-sized Composition C4 is recommended in all traditional curriculum of explosive number 4. 6. In October the year 2000, the group used C4 to attack the USS Kopf, killing 17 sailors. Composition C4 has also been used in improvisation. A weak or servile man, often used as a contemptuous term for a man with moderate or progressive political views. Cuck.
Oh, we're, out of time. If they ask, just say I managed to get as far as talking about Bush causing this all. See you tomorrow.
I fucking hate you.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from.